Welcome back to Pop Culture Explosion. I'm Mike, and I'm here with Paul.
Here at Pop Culture Explosion, we catch that vibranium meteorite. We get our suit on, we get the tech going, and then we march to the theaters, Mike, and what did we see?
Marvel has done it again. Number 18. They just seem to get better as they go with Black Panther. No signs of stopping here.
No signs of stopping. I mean, this has been a highly anticipated movie of mine. The hype was there. My expectations were high. And Marvel, once again, not only met my expectation, they smashed it. So, Mike, let's just dive into this movie, shall we?
Yeah. I think despite its long runtime, this movie was tight. Fast-paced. It had well-developed characters. It had emotional weight. And it had one of the best villains of the MCU to date.
You know, Mike, let's talk about that for a second. I think Marvel's been having a superhero issue. I mean, you look at Ultron, you look at, even Hela. Her arc was she was just evil. Tony Stark's villains, they've been very two-dimensional. And Michael B. Jordan, you nailed it. You gave us such a sympathetic, such a really deep villain that you actually can kind of agree with. I'm a fan. I've not been a fan of Michael B. Jordan. I've only seen a couple movies of his, but this one, wow.
Well, now that you mentioned that part, I struggle to like any characters that he's done in film, and this one was the standout by far. He nailed it. He stole the show in my opinion on that.
Andy Serkis, Claw.
He was great. He was great, of course.
He was so funny. But you know what though? I have a confession. I have a new crush. The Black Panther's little baby sister, Letitia Wright. She was brilliant. Giving the king the finger right in front of mom. Her brilliance with the tech. Her little one-off little insults to Everett Ross. Martin Freeman. She was brilliant.
Yeah, look out, Mike, Tony Stark.
Look, yes. Mike, any other characters, in your opinion, that stood out?
Character-wise, well, it's got to go to Michael B. Jordan, of course. And then a close second would be Andy Serkis. As far as characters that stood out for me. While the movie wasn't wowing you with action scenes, it was busy building the characters and giving you reasons to care, or at least appreciate the characters' motivations for their actions. And where that really got nailed was, again, the villain, Michael B. Jordan's character. You're like, he's the villain, but you're almost like, well, I kind of see his point, like he's been given the short end of the stick over here. So you feel for him. You're sympathetic towards him. Unlike you said earlier with the two-dimensional villains where they kind of give you a watered-down little sort of origin, and you don't really care.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about Chadwick Boseman's performance, the Black Panther. We had a really good introduction with him in the Infinity Wars. I liked that character right off the bat. But what I really liked about the Black Panther was they gave us like a 3-minute, origin story with the guy. But this movie was really his origin. We saw a true arc with the character. He came in, he's the prince of Wakanda. He had those challenges. He's got his, minor spoiler, he got his butt beat by Killmonger. But then he came back stronger than ever. And I think the end of the movie proved that he is definitely the king of Wakanda. And he nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this movie is something I didn't expect. It was more, and I don't know if this is a minor spoiler, but it was more self-contained. It didn't go beyond into the more larger MCU story arc. It kind of stayed in its own little bubble and told its own story.
And that was an intentional decision that Marvel made for this. So now
I was
there's
surprised
a
at that.
I'm not though, because this it's in a different continent. I mean, these guys don't deal with what happened in New York or in or Brooklyn. Now let's talk about all the hoopla with this movie. People are saying that this is the best MCU film ever. No, it
No.
wasn't. I mean, this is definitely my top 10. I had a blast watching this movie. This is not the best Marvel movie.
Yeah,
Ever
I mean,
made.
it's a great film. I do rate it high up there. I can't say it's my favorite. There's 17 other films, let's not forget. Civil War and Avengers and, Guardians. I mean, this is right up there with those. I mean, this is going to beat some of the origin, like Thor 2 and 3, Iron Man 2, those, the Hulk, of course, on the bottom end. But this is towards the top, definitely.
Right. What I did like about this movie is this was a really needed bridge between Civil War and the Infinity Wars. The Infinity Wars is going to be heavily based in Wakanda, and I think this is going to be a very strong bridge between those two movies. So let's go into some spoiler territory right now with the two final cutscenes in this movie. And if you did not see the movie yet, shame on you, but we will be talking about the two final cutscenes. The first one was Prince T'Challa was in front of the UN, and he's talking about, we're not going to be secluded anymore. We're actually going to come out. We're going to share our technology, share our resources. How do you think that's going to impact the MCU, especially leading up to the Civil War?
That's crazy, because that's just gonna open up a whole nother type of possible war. People are gonna be vying over that vibranium, and that's just a whole can of worms. I mean, God knows where you could go with that. I mean, maybe that'll be a linchpin for Phase 4, even. Unless they're going to try to tie it up with Infinity War 1 and 2. But
well, I think here's my theory, that there is an Infinity Stone in Wakanda. That's my theory. I've been sticking with that for a year now. The fact that so much of Infinity Wars is focused in Wakanda, that has to be the case. But I think that the weapons and technology that they're going to introduce to the world will give the Earth just that one more added help to defeat Thanos.
yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're going to need.
And I knew that they were going to introduce Bucky in the second cutscene when when we heard that line. Oh, great! Another broken white boy we got to fix.
Yeah.
When I heard that line, I'm like, we better see Bucky in this movie, and it was such a huge payoff for me to see Bucky at the very end, and she just simply asked, "How are you feeling?" And he's like, "I feel fine," and I truly believe that he is healed, and that was really pleasant to see.
Yeah, yeah, and then there's if you follow the comic books, there's talk of him being the White Wolf, which was a whole nother character, and how is he going to play into Wakanda? Is he going to stay there? So there's a lot of speculation that comes with that appearance.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike, let's talk about the money. How did it perform this weekend?
Black Panther delivers the 5th largest opening of all time, headed towards about $235 million for a 4-day debut, and I don't get it. It was a great movie, but so was a lot of the other ones. I mean,
yeah, but Mike, there is one real easy explanation. There is a large demographics of the audience of Black Panther that hasn't seen the other Marvel movies that came out to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ignore that. So there was a good portion of an audience that this might have been their first Marvel movie. And
wow. Where have they been? Come on now.
I know. Come on, people.
What are you doing?
So Mike, let's kind of wrap this video up. Let's give some final thoughts. Final thought, Mike.
Final thoughts. While this was a absolutely great movie, and I would go see it again, I don't think it's the best Marvel movie, and frankly, I don't understand the phenomenon that's happening and why it's crushing so hard. Even though we kind of just talked about that, but I'm a little bit boggled by that because it does have that phenomenon feeling where it's just the huge, huge numbers. Why is it different to me than Guardians or some of these other ones? So,
well, without getting too political, there was a very there's a very strong black pride with this movie. The one thing that annoyed me is they're like, well, this is the first black superhero, and I'm like, no, we have Luke Cage, we have Blade.
Blade, yeah.
So
you know what though? I think that this is the first real high quality MCU African.
Oh no, hands down.
Yeah, I think that's what's being celebrated and why.
Yes, they celebrated the African culture, which was beautiful. There was a lot of gorgeous cosplay going on. So, but that's why it did so well. My final thoughts with this movie is, again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I took my dad to this movie. He loved it. It was a long movie. It did not feel like a long movie. You do not need to be a Marvel fan to enjoy this movie. You do not need to be a comic book junkie to like this movie. I didn't even read the Black Panther comics when I was a kid. So you know what? Yeah. I'm going to give this movie 8 out of 10. Mike, what's your rating?
I'm going to give it a 9.
Okay. 8.5, I think. Yeah, that's better because I really did like it. So, everyone, this is our thoughts on the Black Panther. What are your thoughts? Did you see this movie? Did you like what you see? Hey, let's continue the conversation down below. If you like this video, smash that like button. If you dislike this video, I get it. Hit the dislike button. And hey, for future content, please subscribe to our channel. And if you do any of those 3 things, you will get your own set of vibranium claws hand-delivered to you tomorrow, delivered by Amazon. So, Mike, with that being said, peace out.